and down. I think if there's one thing we can get straight, it's that these guys are pretty low on the food chain. Now, once you get some poultry in your possession, you gotta know how to defend your flock. Now, I know what you're thinking. With the hat, but he's on a farm, this guy must be some kind of cowboy, right? Wrong, I'm a chicken boy. Sounded better in my head. Now, I've been raising chickens for about 5 years, 6 years? I've been raising chickens for about 6 years now. Man, and they love to do that. So I know a thing or two when it comes to keeping them alive. Additionally, I'm in a pretty rural part of the Midwest, so we have to deal with a lot of predators that just want to eat these guys. Now, the first thing I gotta say to anybody that wants to raise any animals, chickens, ducks, geese, cows, sheep, goats, whatever, is you're gonna need a 22 long rifle to be specific. What you want is some kind of small caliber ammunition that is lightweight and easy to find. A preferred 22 is a bolt action Savage Mark II. I've been running the trap lines, hunting rabbits and squirrels, stuff like that with this guy for a number of years now. I prefer a bolt action. They're a little bit safer than semi-autos. There's less moving parts. They're easier to clean. I just like bolt action 22s for the simplicity's sake. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I need to go out and get a 22? The reason for the 22 is very simple. What's gonna be killing your chickens is not humans, most likely. Could happen. I haven't run into that yet. But it's gonna be raccoons, possums, skunks, and other small varmint. A 22 is plenty to take all those guys down. Getting one of those bolt action Savage Mark IIs will set you back 98 bucks. We'll get into fortification here in a second, but no matter how good you fortify your coop, there will always be a crafty raccoon that finds his way in. Now, the likelihood that you're going to catch this raccoon in the act is pretty low. Raccoons strike at night, I sleep at night. Because they strike at night, we gotta get a little bit resourceful. Enter the dog proof. Now, some people don't like trapping, understandably so. I don't like watching my chicken flock get diminished by raccoons. So I employ traps as a tool to lower the raccoon populations and keep my chickens safe. To be perfectly honest with you, it's not that bad. It's literally just like getting your hand held there. I could leave my finger in this and it might go numb after a while, but to be honest with you, it's really not terrible at all. I say this is mostly dog proof because there is still a chance that dogs get caught in this thing. If you have a small dog that can reach his hand in here, he can more than likely pull that circle upwards and set the trap off. It's not that hard to do. Barn cats are able to do that too. That's why when I use dog proofs, I make sure I set them far enough away from the house that none of our barn cats are gonna go anywhere near them. Additionally, I do not bait these with cat food. I bait them with something sweet like honey or marshmallows. That's gonna eliminate any chance you have of catching a cat or a dog. Maybe not a dog, but for sure cats. If you have dogs and cats and you want to be able to trap close to your coop, I would recommend getting a live trap. I've caught cats in live cage traps all the time. Like our own barn cats they'll just wander in there for fun, and I let them out like 2 hours later. It's essentially a box that you put bait in the back of, and then the raccoon steps on a pressure plate, which closes a door behind it and then keeps it in the box. It also works on possums, and unfortunately, it also works on skunks. Now, you should consider that most of the time, traps and 22s are gonna be either a preventative measure, meaning you wanna thin out the population before it attacks your animals, like what I do, or it is an after measure, meaning whatever animal has already attacked your chickens, you want to catch and get rid of as quickly as possible. Now, if an animal does manage to break into your coop and either eat your chickens or eat your chickens' eggs, it's very, very good idea to just put that animal down, because it will keep coming back and exploiting your coop and your flock as means for it to get an easy meal. Before we move on to the next segment, which is going to be preventing anything from breaking into your coop and eating your animals, I do need to touch on one last little varmin that does eat a lot of chickens every year. Now that of course is going to be the coyote and the bobcat. These are much harder to get rid of. In fact, it was only a few weeks ago that I actually shot a coyote that was trying to attack my flock of ducks. Now you can trap coyotes and bobcats depending on the seasons and regulations in your state, but in general they're going to be a little bit harder to get rid of. And trapping them is very difficult because you have to use foothold traps, and foothold traps are indiscriminate in what they catch. Meaning a foothold trap could catch a coyote, it could catch a bobcat, it could also catch your dog, your cat, one of your chickens, or a native bird that you don't want to catch. Now I've never had any issues with bobcats, but I use hunting as my preferred tool for thinning out coyote populations. Now coyote hunting is a whole nother topic in and of itself, which I will have a video coming out on very soon. Now trapping and hunting bobcats and coyotes is usually not a quick ordeal. Therefore, the quickest measure that you can take to keeping your flock safe from these two predators is fortifying your coop. Chicken wire, as deceiving as the name is not good for protecting chickens. Coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, possums, you name it, can more than likely bend, tear, or chew through chicken wire. And once they learn that they can do that, this whole coop is essentially compromised. Right here is an example of a spot that a raccoon tore up, bent, and chewed through this chicken wire so that he could reach in here and snatch any animals that were going by, meaning my chicks that were in the coop. Now what is before me is 2x4 wiring. This is the far superior type of wiring to be using, or fence rather, to be using to protect your flock. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot sturdier. You need fence staples to keep it in, and you're not gonna tear this thing up. You might have noticed this wire right here. Let me show you what it's for. It's been a minute since I've used this thing, or had to use it, but this right here is a fence charger. This right here is made for cattle and horses. And as you can see, it electrocutes fence up to 15 miles. I've got it strung out maybe 20 feet. If you're really having trouble with keeping animals out of your coop, you can run an electric fence just like this one, and it'll keep any of those pesky predators at bay. All right, we've talked about things that attack from the ground a lot. Let's talk about the sky. You'll notice that in the run, I have this. That's an issue. This is why you got to check things daily, because this wasn't here yesterday, and that's not good. Besides that, you'll notice that I have this mesh on the top of the outdoor run. This is because hawks and owls love to eat chickens. I don't know why hawks and owls love to. They're not even bigger than chickens, like they're small. But even a tiny little pigeon hawk I've seen go after chickens. Another really good preventative measure is just make sure that there's nothing on the outside of your coop that's going to entice predators to want to take a look inside of your coop. This means don't leave broken eggs on the outside of your coop. Don't leave chicken food out overnight. Look at this predator. Come here. Oh, big kitty. Ah, hi. Yeah, what do you see? See a lot of birds? I bet you do. Loving on the kitty. Now, just doing this kind of stuff is a good What? There's one more less thought about predator that I have had issues with in the past, and that is snakes. I'm not a huge fan of snakes. I think they're kind of cool, but they will eat eggs, and occasionally you get a really dumb one that thinks it can eat a whole chicken, and it can wrap its head, and the snake will sometimes try to start engulfing the chicken and suffocate it. In order to prevent snakes, there's not a whole lot you can do, but generally they're active in the daytime, and it's pretty hard to not notice a snake problem. They like to sit in your coop, so as long as you're doing regular inspections of your coop, it's not hard to catch the snakes. And again, snakes, just like everything else, Once they start eating your eggs, you're gonna wanna get rid of them for good, because they'll just keep coming back and eating more of your eggs. My knowledge of cold-blooded reptiles would lead me to believe that snakes don't actively prey upon your eggs at night. Squamata. And the last tip I'm gonna send you guys off with is just make sure you're checking your coop every day for any breaches, security breaches. Stay vigilant and just make sure nothing is trying to attack your flock. And if it does, make sure you're ready to take care of business.